Donald Trump's Texas gerrymandering scheme is having an unexpected and disastrous effect on the state, and what was once regarded as one of the most powerful and influential states in the Union now looks like its influence is evaporating. Anyone frustrated by Texas politics, or corrupt politicians like Tom DeLay, who hail from the Lone Star State, listen up. Texas is on the precipice. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. And once again, I know you're sick of hearing it, but please subscribe to our channel if you haven't. It helps us bring you the news and you stay up to date. Now then, on to our breaking story. The state of Texas has become a pivotal battleground as Donald Trump tries to expand his authoritarian reach. Earlier this year, Trump hatched a plan to order Texas Governor Greg Abbott to redraw the congressional map of the state, even though it's not a census year. Trump hoped that by Abbott gerrymandering the state, Republicans could get a permanent majority in Congress, and Trump could avoid investigations of his administration and a potential third impeachment. Of course, that set off a nationwide gerrymandering battle. See our other videos for more on that. And now it looks like the plan is backfiring. As for Texas itself, the state where it all started, Abbott's plan has hit some major roadblocks. Here's where things stand right now.
The Texas redistricting case, which is now at the U.S. Supreme Court. The justices will decide the fate of the highly fought over congressional maps in the Lone Star State. Justice Samuel Alito already gave Texas Republicans a partial victory when he granted an administrative stay in the case November 21st. That set aside a ruling by two federal judges in Texas who blocked the 2025 maps after concluding Texas Republicans illegally racially gerrymandered the districts so they could potentially win up to 5 extra seats in next year's midterm elections. As a result of Justice Alito's action, the 2025 maps are in place for now, and the Supreme Court could extend their administrative stay. I spoke with Dr. Bill Criss, a legal and political historian in Texas, about the next steps, what they mean, and whether the December 8th deadline for candidates to file their campaign paperwork still matters.
At this point, it doesn't really matter because it's as if the order of the federal court in El Paso doesn't exist. Unless and until the Supreme Court does something different, either by way of confirming Justice Alito's stay or by way of deciding the case, the stay is in effect. And so as things sit right now, the districts that were carved up by the legislature in special session this summer are the districts that people will run in.
So, in short, the Supreme Court might block the lower court ruling that declared the new maps racist and unconstitutional, but if it does, it could open up a much bigger political warfare over congressional maps. And regardless, we now know that Trump and Abbott's meddling has had some unintended consequences. Consequences which, regardless of the Supreme Court ruling, could strip Texas, historically one of the most consequential states, of most of its political clout. Check this out. Politico now reports that Texas, which could have as many as 30 congressional Republican delegates if this redistricting plan succeeds, is actually losing power thanks to Trump's meddling. It breaks down like this. Any new districts would have freshman congresspeople, not the kind of veterans who hold clout with their fellow representatives, and not anyone with the kind of federal experience needed for passing legislation or major deal-making. That also means that Texas will likely not have any chairpeople on any congressional committees where the shaping of legislation often takes place. In essence, the redistricting will keep Texans from any kind of party leadership. Worse, at least 6 Texas representatives are retiring, in part due to Trump and House Speaker Mike "Micro" Johnson's poor leadership. That includes Representative Michael McCall, who headed 2 committees in the House, Representative Chip Roy, who is running for Texas Attorney General, and Representative Wesley Hunt, who has launched a primary challenge against GOP Senator John Cornyn. Other Texas veterans, including Representative Ronnie Jackson, Trump's former White House doctor, have said privately that they hope to claim administration jobs. In other words, no matter how many seats Texas has in Congress, the state will lose virtually all of its influence over the federal government. The same article also details how these redistricting and retirements further force Republicans to march in lockstep with Trump, and how Mike "Has-No" Johnson pays little to no attention to mentorships of incoming congresspeople. As a result, Republican representatives spend less time meeting with colleagues and more time away from Washington. It's its own kind of brain drain for the party. And all of that speaks nothing of the optics of Trump's influence or how he politically weighs down Republicans. Thus, Texas, despite its wealth and population, will have much less power in the Congress. And that's good news for Democrats, who have a much better plan for mentoring, see also Nancy Pelosi's mentoring of Hakeem Jeffries, and are more organized behind the scenes. And should Democrats retake Congress in next year's midterms, Republicans will really find themselves without influence. On the other hand, there's always room for Texas among congressional Democrats. More politicians like Jasmine Crockett, the House's answer to Cardi B? Yes, please. I'm David Reddish.